Good morning, everybody. Here we are at the Villa Feliciana, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the carnivore diet, the lion diet, and also about secular Buddhism and how that works into the lion diet. So looks like we've got a crowd of people coming in this morning. It's a nice day. I just finished up my swim. Uh, I got in a good swim. This was Jen's first day on her yoga adventure, and nobody showed up, which is okay. So I'm gonna walk you around Feliciana here. Uh, so, oh, I see. She wants me to go up on this bridge here. So let's start with secular Buddhism. Secular Buddhism, the Buddha discovered after years of meditation that the first noble truth, that life is suffering, and then he discovered the second noble truth, which is the this is an off-the-cuff kind of direct. So, at any rate, the Buddha discovered here uh, the first noble truth, which is life is suffering, and he worked on it from a psychological perspective of the mind. And he said, well, why are we suffering? He said, because you have, and that's kind of his definition of dukkha, suffering. I've got a little bit different definition of it, so I'll explain that to you later. But let's go over the Buddhist definition first, because most people don't understand Buddhism. Buddhism is really based around living an ethical life, a moral life of goodness. And the Buddha believed that if you did this and followed the Eightfold Pathway, which is the fourth noble truth, that you could achieve enlightenment and essentially end the suffering. But I have found that the mind is not so much suffering, it's more dysregulated. Oh, so we're just learning on these videos. And this is unscripted, and so I want to do more scripted videos in the future. So I get thrown off track a little bit when people are telling me to behave in a certain fashion, because now I'm messing with my behavior rather than telling you the point that I want to get across. And the point is, it's not your mind your mind is messed up because your nervous system is messed up. And so the Buddha said that we have suffering because of our wants, desires, the fact that everything is impermanent. So you've got the concept of, I think, anicca, which is the impermanence of life. Everything is changing. You've got dukkha, which is defined again as suffering. And you've got anatta, which is no self, no soul, so to speak. You've got this body here in this life, and that's it. Now, some Buddhists believe in rebirth and reincarnation. I don't believe in any of that supernatural nonsense, but I do. The Buddha did discover that the mind is kind of messed up, but I've discovered that the mind is messed up, that it's dissatisfied and dysregulated because of the dysregulated nervous system. And it's not because of the desires of the mind to want to hang on to things and make things permanent and prevent change. That's not the real reason that the mind suffers. The real reason the mind suffers is because they're eating the wrong food. They're not eating a healthy diet. A healthy diet is basically going to be protein and fats. You don't need all those carbohydrates and those refined carbohydrates in that processed food-like products, junk food that these corporations are pushing on you. The real reason the world is suffering is because we're eating like we feed rabbits and cows instead of letting them go out and eat a healthy diet. We're out there feeding them foods that aren't healthy for them. And so what we're getting sick rabbits and sick cows and sick goats and sick cats and sick dogs. You look at dogs becoming diabetic and cats becoming diabetic. Why is that? because we're feeding them sugary, starchy foods. Cats and dogs are carnivores. Humans are carnivores. We have to eat meat. We don't really have a choice. Now, there are some people that say, oh, you're a murderer and like this. And it's like, no, we're human. And if you don't eat healthy, if you don't eat a good, fatty, carnivore diet, now you can eat some vegetables, but they have to be low oxalate vegetables. Vegetables should not be the majority of your diet. Now, some people like vegetables because of the flavors and like that, but if you're getting vegetables high in oxalates, if you're eating nuts high in oxalates, you're going to be destroying your gut health, your kidney health. You're going to be messing with your, and when you mess with this, you're going to be messing with your brain and your nervous system. And the brain is just part of the nervous system. And when you do this, you're going to have anxiety and depression. So if you really want to end your suffering, your anxiety and depression, you got to first accept the fact that you have to change your mind and start eating more meat and fatty meat or eggs. You know, if you don't like eating meat, start eating eggs. They're cheap. You can eat cabbage. It's a low oxalate vegetable and fill your gut up. But you're going to need some fats. You're going to need some coconut oil. And don't eat those seed oils and vegetable oils. So the real reason the world is suffering is because their brain and nervous system have become dysregulated due to the diet that we eat. It's like feeding dogs vegetables. Dogs don't eat vegetables. You want to see a dog get sick? Feed it vegetables. You want to see a cat get sick? Feed it rice and starch like we do here in the Philippines. It completely messes with their physiology. And humans are doing the same thing. On that note, I want to kind of wrap this up, and we'll do further videos on this line. But that's the reason that I believe that the world is suffering. And so we practice secular Buddhism. And in practicing secular Buddhism, the first thing we focus on is changing our mind to change our diet. And I'd say give it a 5-day trial. You need to step into ketosis to really get your mind straight. And so you can eat a lot of food. You can eat plenty of meat, cheese, eggs, whatever. You can go back and forth between keto and carnivore. You can do a little bit of intermittent fasting. The foods that we eat and the diet that we eat is focused on a few things that help you get your body back into the shape that it needs to be in. And let me tell you, I used to weigh 141 and a half kilos. This morning I weighed 67.2 kilos, and I've done that for 18 years now. And I can tell you my story later on. But first thing I want to get you guys to do is to start eating more eggs and cheese and meat, especially if you're a meat eater. Start eating meat, especially if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, eat cheap meat. You know, get some cheap fish or chicken or something like that. Watch Dr. Ken Berry. Now, there's a real hero. And watch Dr. Georgia Eady. She's the one that talks about these high oxalate vegetables that are literally destroying your brain. So on that note, I would like to say like and subscribe to our channel. We really need to make this channel go, and we can do that with support from you, because these little videos, they require time and effort, and it really helps us to support this channel if we get just a like and subscribe from you. That's all we need. So namaste.